Join us on a captivating journey as we explore the charm, history, and vibrant culture of Wilkes County. Discover the hidden gems, inspiring stories, and remarkable people that make Wilkes a place worth knowing and celebrating. Join us now and experience the unique essence of life in Wilkes.
Tabitha, how are you, friend?
I'm doing great. It's good to be in here.
It's great to have you. It's been a while since we've sat together. Welcome to Life in Wilkes.
Thank you.
You do some incredible things in life. When we were talking last year, I suppose it was, you were talking about all the activities going on at the Walker Center.
Yes.
How did last season go?
So it was so good. We just wrapped up our 40th season, which was phenomenal, to say the least. We just finished that up last week, and it was a great night. I think you might have had a little experience there as well.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. It certainly did. It was a groovy night.
Yes, it was.
It was a groovy night. Right. People don't usually hear me say groovy, but it was a step back to the 60s, right?
It was. Yeah.
I have to tell you, while I was, we were doing some production there during this as well, but as I sat to enjoy the show, I'm sitting there thinking I'm just going to listen to a few Beatles songs and I'm going to have this, celebratory moment in my own mind. Say, that's really nice. But they started there. It was kind of like a history experience as well, of which I love. So we're not only hearing music, but then we're seeing these video clips about things that happen in each year.
Yes.
So I thought that was fantastic. Until I got home and I began to reflect. I started to feel a little bit while I was there, but then I'm like, oh my God, I was alive when the first man landed on the moon. I was alive when this happened and that happened and the other thing happened. And I was like, okay, so now we're officially part of history.
That's true.
So the groovy history. So I like the thought process that I walked away with there also, because the 60s were such an interesting time period, both in discovery and misery. There were a lot of bad things that happened in the 60s.
I obviously didn't know a lot about it because I wasn't here yet, but the history lessons the other night were very cool. I was not expecting all that either. And then a lot of the customers would come up to me and say, I love that they play commercials from when we were small. And I said,
did too.
You're going to be singing those jingles for weeks.
Right.
But that was really cool.
We'll be right back after this word from our sponsor.
Honey, your coffee just doesn't taste any good.
Mr. McGregor?
What's wrong, Jeannie?
My coffee, it just isn't any good. And on my anniversary, too.
Well, here was the interesting thing, because obviously the show itself brought in a lot of people who were from that time period, right? Yeah. So I was, even though I was alive during certain things happening, I was just born, right? So I was just a few years old. But there were people in the room, a lot of people in the room, they were more than a few years old, right? They were there were vets that actually went to Vietnam. There were people that were participating in those activities. And one gentleman, I don't know that I'll ever forget this moment, because it was like such a real thing, and spoke to the reality of years passing. I'm guessing he was in his 80s, right? And I don't know if you remember that song that came on, but the Beach Balls started, going out. This is my only critique of the entire show. I love the Beach Balls. However, this very distinguished gentleman, I just happened to catch it, because it's on my right side. And the balls were starting to come out. And I watched him. He was watching the balls. And then one came toward him. And he's doing this very slowly, right? Because, that was the energy level. So that's what he had to give. Yeah. And so he was going up for the ball. It went over. And then it was like, he just dropped his hand and said, oh, darn. I don't know if he said darn, but that was it. So my only critique is, next time if the 60s come back, I'll even sponsor we'll get really big balls.
so you can see
I
him.
do them in slow. Oh no, he saw the ball. It's just a mobility issue.
Yeah.
We all have this. I mean, and that's something to think about.
It is.
The show itself was fantastic.
Yes, it was
the
very
balls were great. It was all great.
Yeah.
But it was that idea that we were all in this room together, and there are people there who were part of American and world history.
That's true.
And I thought that was pretty cool.
It was.
So I'll not forget that. And remember, call me on those. I'll go ahead and source the larger balls.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, do that.
You got to bring them back. You got to bring those people back because
it was so
it's
much
a great
fun.
thing.
It really was.
That's right. I have no reference to the 50s, so if you bring that back, I do the 50s show. I don't know if they even have one of those. Anyway, what fun that was. And I'm glad it resonated somewhat for you as well.
Yeah, it did.
We had a lot of fun in production there, so it was a good thing. So let's talk about what you've got coming up for 2024 and 25,
Yeah.
right? It's a big season.
It is. So we announced that on Thursday last week, and it is on our website now, which is absolutely beautiful. I love the new logo. We came up with that last year,
Right.
and then of course the colorfulness. I'm all about some color.
Some color, that's right.
Yeah.
You always wear such boring things.
Oh, I know. I know.
Do you keep a couple of changes in your car just in case?
Well, probably shoes for
Shoes,
sure.
right? I remember you're a shoe girl,
Yeah,
so
I
I remember that part. All right, so let's talk about that then. So for everybody that wasn't there with us a few nights ago, they didn't hear the runoff of schedule, and I think we met your the new president of the college.
We did, yes, Dr. Rogers.
That's right, Dr. Rogers. He's going to be on the show,
He
right?
is,
Coming
yeah,
up.
Yeah.
I wonder, Tim, could we get the theme song for Mr. Rogers?
Oh my!
Let's not go there.
I know. Don't tell him we're going to.
I won't.
We probably won't do
We'll
that.
keep that a surprise.
I could put a sweater on it.
Like we're going to learn how to tie our shoes today, kid.
Well, it is an educational environment, right? I don't know
goodness.
that. Well, anyway. All right. We seem to be having fun. Let's talk about
Okay.
the program. You got a lot of stuff coming up.
We
Lee
do.
Greenwood, I
Lee
understand.
Greenwood, yes.
Wow.
Going to open us up for the season in September.
Has he been with you before, the Walker
He
Center?
has. It was, I say, BT before Tabitha, so,
Right.
several years back. But
Right.
yes, he is welcomed. The customers really, really were excited to hear his name. And of course, everyone loves God Bless the USA. You
course.
can't be part of, like you said, American history and not love that song.
That's right. And he's certainly still loved by so many people. So that'll be a great show.
Yes,
Maybe
he
we'll
is.
try to show up for that.
Okay, good. So then we will go into October, which is Sun Records Live. And
wow.
yeah, so you're going to feel like you're in Memphis, right in the Walker Center. You don't even have to go that far.
Nice.
It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
So Jerry Lee Lewis, Carl Perkins, Elvis, Johnny Cash. Love them all.
So okay, let's break it down. So the group that's performing, are they bringing them to life?
They are.
Okay. Do they look and sound like them?
Very similar. I will say on a a side note,
Right.
I have a huge crush on Jerry Lee Lewis, which I know
Right.
he's non-existent. I get that, but
Right.
how could you not? I was not in that time frame, but all of his music and his movies,
Right.
I don't know. He just has that way about him.
Yeah, the
Good
movements
swagger.
and the swagger.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
all
it.
right.
So I
Okay.
promise I won't bother him though while he's there. My husband may have a problem with that.
Well, does he have a problem now that you're in love with the dead
No, I
man?
think he's okay. I think he feels really safe with that, actually.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. That would make sense. What's
It would.
what's your husband's name?
His name's Jason.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you said Jerry, I would be like, oh.
That's his brother's name.
All right, here
It's
we
getting
go.
worse. All
Here
right,
we go.
so moving on to November, direct from Sweden, the music of ABBA. So we had them scheduled to come when COVID hit.
Right.
And then they were going to come the following year when we were able to start a little bit back. However, they had travel restrictions. So we're finally going to get to have them here. And
I've heard of them before.
Yes, they are fun too. We have footage on every show on each one of our tabs on our website, and there's like a 3-minute video clip of each performance, so you can see kind of what you'll get.
You know, ABBA is another one of those groups that really gets people going.
It is,
and there's a very loyal fan base. We did a piece with the Blumenthal in Charlotte some years ago, and ABBA was either the next show coming up, and I stayed around to watch them, and they were just fantastic. Yeah. Once again, it was one of those things, not only on stage were they great, but the audience was absolutely participatory.
They very much engaged.
Exactly.
Yes. Hopefully with no beach balls, though.
Yeah. Well, okay.
We'll see.
We'll see. Well, you'll have a different group.
Yeah.
Kind of a different group, a younger group, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
So then in December, it's a little bit later this time. We usually try to do that at the first part of the season. But December 19th, we're going to have the Grand Old Christmas Show. And that one, it really caught my eye. Now, I had another one that we were going after, and I thought, this one just kept pulling me in when I saw the video. And it was very... you know, if you go to the beach or the mountains and see a Christmas show, a variety show, that's what it reminded me of. And you're going to get that from start to finish. Some comedy, some nostalgia, some modern. So a good mix.
So a good Christmas variety show.
And I know you'll feel Christmas spirit by the time you leave there.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, you know, we're big on Christmas. We do our, and Life in the Carolinas, we do our Christmas show every year.
It's my favorite outfit to pick for the whole season.
Really? What is it?
Because you can be so dressy, you know. And you can get away with it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Well, I think you're getting away with it every day. So maybe you celebrate Christmas daily, right? All right. Who's next?
All right. Next on the agenda is Catapult. So this is totally different for
is
the
that
Walker
Medusa?
Center.
What is that?
No,
I look at the graphic on there.
So it does look kind of cool like Medusa. It is a shadow dance performance, and they've been on America's Got Talent. It is phenomenal. I mean, you will be mesmerized. It's something you just can't take your eyes away from, because they turn all of these scenes into, well, themselves into scenes. I mean, really.
Wow.
And it tells a story. So. Well,
that's incredible. Is it so the style of the story, is it a bit like puppeteers?
Kind of, but it's actual people using their own,
And you're seeing the silhouettes, and you're seeing, so dance is definitely part of it,
It is, and that's something we have not had at the Walker Center in quite some time, other than recitals and things. But as part of the season, we're just trying to incorporate all the arts, which I think is very important.
Yeah, that's great. Well, if everybody gets up and starts doing that, that'll be great.
Hey, it will.
Think about all the cardiovascular benefits for the county of Wilkes. My goodness. All right. And then they start doing that everywhere they go.
They do.
Can you imagine? You go into the coffee shop.
Just start maneuvering.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a trend. What do you think, everyone? Could that be a thing?
If coffee's involved, I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So then, lastly, on the season performance is the Equinox Jazz Orchestra, and they're doing Beatles to Bourbon Street. So. This is a really cool combination of music. Jazz orchestra doing all the way back from Beatles up to current stuff, and we're going to have an original Walker Center Street Parade if you're part of that show.
Really? Yeah. Well, how does that work?
I actually participated in this last year in Durham. We had a conference, and these guys were in charge of the entertainment portion of that. So we went through the streets of Durham with Mardi Gras beads and handkerchiefs, and them playing When the Saints Go Marching In. It was awesome. And I think people will love that. So as long as weather permits, we'll do that outside, but if not, we'll still do it inside.
Oh, sure. You kind of everybody will participate in the audience. I love that. That's great. You know, talking about jazz for a moment, and this is an entertainment segment, right? So we can talk about anything we want to. But jazz, to me, I've always loved jazz. And I have a lot of friends who are jazz fans. And it transcends a lot of music fan bases, if you will. People who like country music tend to like jazz. You know, Doc Watson loved jazz.
He did. Yeah.
So because of the it's two things it does. It's freestyle for those who follow that concept. You've got things that are definitely traditional, and it's that blend of things, and it leaves so much feeling.
I know you can't go wrong with blues or jazz, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was another experience we had in Charlotte with the Charlotte Jazz Group. It's a wonderful husband and wife team. That I don't know if you remember Katrina. Remember Hurricane Katrina down in New Orleans, where a lot of people had tremendous damage. Right. There was a husband and wife there, and they lost. Their home is gone. Yeah. And part of the relocation, temporary relocation, and helping people with housing, there were people brought to Charlotte. Busloads of folks would come out, and it was in the old arena, the old basketball arena, and that's where they were. And even back then, I'd done a story about that. And it was a really interesting experience of meeting these jazz people and their decision to make North Carolina home. Yeah. And from that point, this is what I love about jazz musicians. So from that point, they have created educational programs for schools and communities, and that seems to me to be a thing in the jazz world that we don't see everywhere else. Right? Yep. So that's pretty cool.
Really neat.
I guess we should maybe do more jazz, right?
Maybe we should.
Is that a jazz? You got real quiet on that one. Is that because my story was so compelling,
I enjoyed it.
or because you're like, I like jazz, but not that much?
No, I was just thinking about how that was transplanted into our state, really.
Transplanted, brought here, and has excelled. Yep. And everyone just loves it. One other quick thing. So I got a call to come to one of their performances, and it was Django Reinhardt night. Oh. So I don't know if you go to that part of jazz or not back in the day, but I was spellbound. And from that moment on, I bought everything I could find with Django Reinhardt, and I listened to it. I said, oh my gosh, that's fantastic. But I could not help but to think about Doc Watson as I was listening to some of that music. Yeah,
he loved all kinds, and gave everybody a chance, and I think that's what MerleFest too represents now.
Of course. Yeah. Well, I opened that door for you so you could jump in and say MerleFest.
A little plug there.
That's in your backyard, right?
It is. So, we just finished an amazing festival. Each festival to me is different. That was my 15th one, and it's never been the same. Nothing has ever been the same. It's the same feel of camaraderie and family and tradition, but each festival has its own, I guess you could say, quirks or, ways to, how can we do this better next year kind of thing. And it still runs smoothly. So, our customer base, they know nothing, which is the best thing.
Right.
If there's something going on in the background, we try to get it fixed before there's any issue. But it really was the smoothest, and I am knocking on wood, literally.
Right. Real wood, too.
Yes, real wood. The smoothest one I've ever experienced.
Oh, that was fantastic.
And so it scared me a little. Though.
Really?
Like, what's going to go wrong? What are we doing? But everything seemed so just good this time.
Well, the thing that I have always been fascinated about MerleFest is not only is it known nationwide, worldwide. I've met people there from around the world, but it's put on and produced by a wonderful community college. Right. And the backstory behind how it happened is fantastic. So it's not a Walker Center project, it's a college project, right?
That's right.
And it's a community project, and it's a musician project. Everybody's involved with making the magic happen there. So when you're around in your committee meetings and talking about the next MerleFest that's coming up, are you mindful of the fact, or do you guys just stop and think about the reality of what you're actually doing and how significant it is and the impact that it has literally on the country of music?
I think sometimes we forget that because we're always in it. We're always
doing the work.
Yeah, doing the work. But then when we do step back, and usually it's during the festival, maybe like a day or so in, and we look around and we're like,
wow,
we did this, right? And each one on our team is completely different. We are not the same by any means, but it all meshes together, which is, I think, the coolest part.
How many volunteers does it take to pull this off?
So volunteers with our groups and individuals, it's usually around the 4,000 mark.
We'll stop.
Yeah.
So 4,000 people are volunteering in some form or compassion.
Yes.
And I understand some might be a little, but some's a lot, right? But 4,000 human beings participating as volunteers to make this big show
happen. And they
happen.
come back year after year after year. It's kind of like a reunion for them, too. We've heard them say that over and over again.
Could anything be better than being part of your community and by volunteering and just giving your all, and the idea that 4,000 people are contributing to that positive energy and volunteerism?
It feels so good.
That's got to be something powerful.
And, everybody, it's our largest fundraiser for the college. It's also many of these groups that volunteer. It's their largest fundraiser for whatever they need during that year. So the community wins in so many ways, and they're able to put back into it.
That's fantastic. What a great thing.
It is.
What a great thing. So what else? My goodness, we've got the season we've talked about. MerleFest will be coming up in no time. It really is no time, right? Because you think about April, and now it's, summertime.
I say that every year, like, how did it get here so fast? I don't understand. But it does.
But it is a year-round process.
Yes.
Just in booking people, I would imagine that for some of the people you book, the headliners, I'm thinking that's probably years in advance, right?
Well, it's starting to have to be because there are lots of other festivals, some within our time frame, but in different states, and but they go after those too. So we try to be out front as most we can.
All right, so that we all know from a bragging standpoint, where does MerleFest stand on the national scale?
Wow.
So from the size of the festival, the draw, because people come from all over, right?
They do. We typically have at least 4 to 5 foreign countries represented, and then they had. I just did the zip code report analysis a few weeks ago. I'm thinking we had either every state or right at,
represented.
Yeah, every state. And then we're able to see where those are really focused at, where those areas are, so that we can know where our ticket sales are and how many came from each area. And
so you can zero in. You can zero into your promotions that way.
It's very neat to look at. Yeah, and then we have. Of course, a sponsorship coordinator that goes into doing all that. We have a marketing team. There's so many different sub-teams within the festival, and the ones I don't participate in are the volunteer one and the site team, but the other ones I'm all a part of. So
when it comes to the sponsors, do you tend to have your big sponsor, they come back year after year?
Yes, thankfully. And most of the time we try to do several years as a contract if they're willing to do that. And then, of course, renegotiations throughout the process.
Of course.
Yeah. And then new ones come along that surprise us, and some that want to be a part of it that we'd never expect at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have the happy meter? Are you able to see how much joy you bring to the universe by MerleFest?
You hear it so much, especially I work with the patron program, which is the larger funded tickets. And I have dealt with them ever since I've been a part of the college. And so I've grown to know them as family, really. Personal stuff. I know people in their family, and they are so happy to be here. It just blows my mind when they get here. It's like they're at Disney World.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. And all the characters are the performers,
That's right. And sometimes us, I think.
Right. Of course. All right. We got just a quick thing we got to do before we got to go, and that is the school shows. I love this. Walker, make a splash.
Yes.
Right? Make a splash.
School shows. We love school shows. We have a great relationship with our Wilkes County schools, and we also try to support all of those in our group as Allegheny, Ash, because Wilkes and Ash and Allegheny are part of the Wilkes Community College.
Sure.
Trying to think of the word, like a you know what I'm
That's
trying
right.
to say.
The Tri-County.
There we go.
The Tri-County.
The word would not come.
The Tri-County wonderment.
Yes.
Right?
And we also, school shows are for homeschoolers as well.
Right.
As long as we have availability and you are part of a school, we will definitely allow the attendance numbers to come in. We have 1,100 seats, and for the most part, in our school shows, we do 2 school shows a day, a 9:30 and a 12:30 when we have these, and we do them for each grade level. So a K1, a 2-3, and a 4-5, and they have the chance to come in the spring or the fall, or both if they'd like.
And they can learn about that on the website?
They can, and all the school shows are on there. They have websites with the study guides and things, which is great to do before the kids get there. And then, of course, we usually have about 1,400 to 1,500 kids coming in that day, so
that's a good
it's pretty
thing.
intense.
That's
but it's
a nice
fun.
thing.
Yes.
That's a nice thing. Well, I like it because you're building and supporting not only your current base, but the future.
That's right.
Right? So
And,
the kids are the future.
Giving them a chance to come onto the college campus, as well as learning theater etiquette that they may not know. And we have some wonderful volunteers for that as well, who have mostly been in the school system themselves. So, yeah.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
All right. So we're getting ready to wrap up now. I wanted to save this little bit for last because you have a ballroom, right? At the Walker Center, and you have a schedule coming up just for that.
Yes.
I think Presley Barker is going to be helping lead some of that charge, launching this season, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this opportunity. We have a beautiful ballroom facility that is called the Lakey Ballroom, and Arnold Lakey was a supporter from way back to name the ballroom in his name. So we thought, what better way to honor both that and our facility than to have a Lakey Ballroom series? And he agreed to that. The Lakey Ballroom series is, in my hopes, going to bring in some new faces that may not have seen the Walker Center, and what we want people to do is just feel comfortable when they come. If you want to dress up to the nines, you're welcome to do that. If you want to wear your jeans and t-shirt, we don't mind that at all. We're there for everybody, and this series is going to promote a little bit of variety, and I'll just run through that series if you like.
Let's do that real quick.
So Presley Barker will be coming on August 24th, and that will also be our donor recognition dinner as well. We had a fundraiser that goes through June 30th for the Walker Center that started last August, and it was for the Next Act series. So we are trying to raise some funds there for entertainment coming up, and those people that donated will have a chance to come to dinner without having to pay extra that night.
Oh, good.
So
They
nice.
paid it forward already.
They sure did.
I love that.
And then we had we have a murder mystery coming. So everybody's been talking about that for years. We thought that'd be awesome. So we're going to do that and dinner will be served with all of these. So it's called Cruising for Clues. Then we move into January, which we have Steve Brogan coming as a ventriloquist. I saw him last year, laughed.
He's
the
hilarious.
entire
He's hilarious.
time. He is. And he's got lots of different characters. So Then something a little different, salsa dance lesson. So put your salsa dancing shoes on and come over, and we're going to have some real instructors from Rumbeo Dance Company come to teach us that. And then lastly, grape stomping on the Watson stage. So we're going to have buckets with grapes, and you can come stomp just like I Love Lucy all you want.
Are you working with local vineyards?
We have one vineyard sponsor this year that has taken the whole season.
Who is it?
So we appreciate it.
Who is it?
Old Barn Winery in West Jefferson.
So they're going to bring some grapes over.
We're going to have grapes. We're going to have wine. We're going to have a family-style buffet dinner all on the Watson stage and do it Greek style.
There you go. And what month is that?
That's June. Yep.
All right, everybody, in June, make sure you wash your feet. Come on over to the Walker Center.
No shoes required, but wash your feet.
And step on some grapes. Okay, real quick, this is overtime bonus for the show.
Yes.
And you mentioned Arnold Lakey.
Yes.
And he is a wonderful person. I spoke to him during our visit recently at the Walker Center, and I loved his spirit of humility, and his contributions seem to be just going on and on and on. But he epitomizes. We can let him be a standard, if you will, that there are many other in the community that are there as well.
That's right. That's right.
So what a wonderful thing. So we give tribute to Arnold Lakey and all of his years of service and support to the community. So that's a good thing.
Such a staple for us, yes.
Okay, so your charge is for the next time we're together. So we just gave a shout out to Arnold Lakey because we think he's a wonderful human being. And we'll try to reach out and talk with him even more about that, which he doesn't like to think of himself as a wonderful. He just does his thing.
Yes, he does.
But so next time you'll have another person that we can say, hey, there was this 91-year-old lady.
Oh, yes.
She was such a sweetheart. We had a great chat
Miss
together.
Betty.
Miss Betty. She's great. We'll talk about Miss Betty next time.
Good. That's who I want to grow up to be.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. All right. Thank you so much, Tabitha. It's great having you here.
Yes.
We love the Walker Center and what you do. It's definitely an important part of life in Wilkes.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thanks.
Thank you for spending time with us on Life in Wilkes. We value you as a viewer and appreciate when you share the show with your friends and family. Be sure to bookmark our channel and join us again on the next episode of Life in Wilkes.